Hello everyone, and welcome to the Innovation Tech Community. And I'm Pratap Reddy, Microsoft AI MVP. And yeah, so today we are going to conduct this global Innovation Tech Community summer bootcamp. And so we are happy to host our expert speakers today. And so Nandeep Nachan and Smita Nachan for this first event. So before that, we are going to we're going for the keynote session by the Sami Depps. And so before that, I would like to introduce all the speakers of this global AA summer bootcamp, and then we can go for the keynote session, and then we are going for the I mean build your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio with Nandeep Nachan and Smita Nachan as well. And I would like to show you the all the expert speakers of today's global AI bootcamp. Okay. So these all are the expert speakers of today's line of speakers, and so I would like to invite so the Sammy to give the keynote session for this global ASMR bootcamp, and then we can get started. Okay, so this is the first session, and you would like to add your valuable comments to the Sammy depths and as well as the Nandeep and Smita. So Nandeep and Smita is already joined, and once the keynote session is done and we can go for the Nandip is waiting for you and as well as the Smita and also waiting for you guys. Okay. Now I would like to introduce the Sammy for this event.
Speaker. Just a little quick introduction about myself. I'm a Microsoft AI MVP, LinkedIn Learning Instructor, and Global AI Community Board member. I'm based out of Nairobi, Kenya, the city under the sun. Now, I've been in the data and AI industry since 2009 and been working in all kinds of industries. Now, enough about myself. Today we're going through the history of AI and how the current status of Microsoft AI. Or, as the topic of the session says, let's understand the Microsoft AI galaxy. Now, to kick off, what is AI? Well, many people have specific opinions about that, but many say it's trying to copy human behavior or the way we understand things. Some say it's purely trying to automate things based on AI. Now, I'm not going to give you a specific definition of it, but out of the experience I had, you could say that AI is like having a mischievous raccoon on a spaceship. It can be very smart, but sometimes unpredictable and always up to some clever shenanigans. Now, why am I saying that? Well, AI is always based on the data input. And we already know that trash in is trash out, or garbage in is garbage out. And that we see with many solutions that have been built based on data. Even if you only look at the reporting, the analytics that are being done. Even if you look at the latest models, GPT technology, large language models, if the data that you're supplying to train train those machine learning models or deep learning models are not of good quality, well, you'll see that also the output might not be the best. So it's not always easy to build high quality AI solutions. But let's go into the past. Where did all of this actually start? Now, it's not all that old. Computer technology might feel ancient, but in the 90s we had smartphones with only 2 lines of text. They were not even smartphones, they were just mobile phones. Now, even only 20 years before that, the main storage was punch cards. I've never used those ones, I'll be honest. The oldest things I've used was floppy disks with, what was it, 1.3 megabyte of storage. But if you think about that, in that short period, computers evolved so quickly and became so integral part of our lives. Who can run around without his smartphone? It's part of our hand, it's part of us. Now, it's so part of our life that we forgot how recent these technologies are. The first computer was only 80 years ago. Well, my parents are that age. I can't imagine that before that there was nothing. But there wasn't. But what about AI on itself? Now, AI hasn't been that new neither. It's already since the year 50s that we already start seeing AI models being built. Now, at that time, it was more statistical machine learning models. But why have we been seeing an increase in all of what is happening right now? Well, if we go back to the previous slide and we see how things have been changing in computer technology, we notice also that the amount of compute power that has been made available to everyone has been incrementing very fast and very speedy. So let's go back to the history of AI. So the first machine learning model that was built was in the 50s by Claude Shannon. And Claude Shannon had built a remote-controlled mouse that was able to find its way out of a labyrinth and also could remember its course. So nothing fancy at all. Now, if you go a little bit closer to today, we had, for example, TD Gammon that was built in 1992. It was built by Gerald Tesoro, who was a researcher at IBM, and he developed this Gammon game. It was an AI model that was just slightly below the human backgammon players of that time. But 2022, 2023, it went from being a child to being a teenager, and we can finally say, I'm Groot. I'm sorry, I'm here. No, AI is here. So it's been going through some decades of evolving. We can say with everything that has been happening the last couple of months, because it changes so fast, that AI is now in the hands of everyone. And that's what we're going to look at right now. What is the Microsoft AI Galaxy and how can we make use of it as a developer, as a business user, as a consumer? Now we need to think about that Microsoft has been building AI for now also a couple of decades already, and they actually build it in 3 different flavors. As I said, for data scientists could be useful, for technical developers, and also for just the common people. But why do they do that? Well, what is Microsoft's statement? Empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So that means they want to be able to give everyone the power of AI. And let's be honest, they've been doing quite a well job. And let's look to what is available and how we can make use of it. Let's start with what is there for data scientists. Now, data scientists, they will need the power to be able to build their own machine learning models. They want to do the next steps. They don't want to make use of pre-built machine learning models. But what is there? Well, there's many different tools already available. If we think about Azure Synapse Analytics, Microsoft Fabric, Databricks, and Azure Machine Learning, all great tools that give data scientists the opportunity to train machine learning models from scratch in Python and R by making use of managed or unmanaged compute. That's meaning you can bring in your own compute, you can configure your own compute in Azure, or you just say, okay, I just need a server, I don't care what settings I need, just get it done for me. What are they gonna do? Well, they're gonna build custom models. But one important fact is that all of those tools are built to make sure that the machine learning models that are trained are also responsible. But we'll go into that a little bit later. Now, that was what is available for data scientists. But what is there for software developers? Well, also they get quite a nice number of services that are there. Now, what Microsoft has been building is pre-trained machine learning models or even customizable pre-trained models. For example, we have document intelligence. Document intelligence is a service by Microsoft that can assist you in recognizing forms and being able to extract information out of a form into a JSON document, or just extracting structures of documents. What are headings, what are paragraphs, and so on. And then we have all the different kinds of Azure cognitive services to be able to recognize videos, to analyze videos, to detect what someone is saying. I can put speech to text, text to speech, image recognition, facial recognition, immersive reading, metric advisor, language understanding to detect intents, and so on. And then of course we also have the Azure OpenAI services that are also part of the Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, which give you the opportunity to make use of all the large language models that OpenAI has been developed. Now the great thing about this implementation of Azure OpenAI and not OpenAI services is that Microsoft created some kind of layer on top of the OpenAI services, which means those models are more secure. They've been getting a kind of content safety layer on top of it, but they're also made ready for enterprise architecture by being able to put those kind of services also in virtual networks, so it's all nicely secured in your solution. And then we see this nice little guy, Copilot. Copilot is a great service that you can add into Microsoft Visual Studio or Microsoft Visual Code that assists you in writing your code. You can just say, I need a function to calculate a leap year, and it will propose you already some code in Python, in Java, and C# and so on. So in short, what does Microsoft offer concerning AI to software developers? Customizable services and a bunch of out-of-the-box APIs and SDKs that of course are calling those APIs to be able to use and implement pre-built AI models or customizable AI models to be able to build them into your own software solutions. And again, responsible AI is dedicated and part of all those solutions. Now, we've seen data scientists, we've had software developers, but what is there for business users? Well, for business users, there's so many new services also available. If we think about Microsoft Dynamics 365, where customer relationship management tool has been adding features, the CRM, to be able to automatically generate emails to your customers based on their sales behavior. Oh, you've been buying this, maybe it's interesting to buy that, and so on. Now, even just Microsoft 365. If you have Microsoft 365 Copilot, it's very awesome to have that integrated into Teams or in Word. In Teams, it will automatically transcribe your meetings, and we'll give you summaries, and we'll say, okay, this person has this task that need to be done, and this guy needs to do these tasks. Awesome things. In Word and in Outlook it will summarize your email chain, so you don't need to go through 10 emails to understand what has been discussed. In Word, that it can help you in assisting writing letters or documents to what is needed. And then we have everything in the Power Platform, where we see that also Copilot has been implemented and assisting you in writing or building Power BI reports and creating Power Automate flows and so on. And then you might find it strange, but I added GitHub Copilot again to this picture. Why? Well, because GitHub Copilot is actually a really good tool also to start to learn to code, because you can ask questions about the code that has been written by someone else with Copilot chat, and then you can help assist in writing code. So that means that people who have no skills in writing code can already start to learn a bit and try out new stuff. Now, all of these features are again customizable, but out of the box, not APIs in this case, but services that are built into the tools. And again, we're talking here about responsible usage of those AI models. But now, what is responsible AI and why is it that necessary? Now, there's a couple of topics that you need to keep in mind when building machine learning models. And the first one is fairness. Now, fairness means that AI systems should treat all people fairly. The second point is reliability and safety. AI systems should perform reliable and safe. AI systems should be secure and respect privacy. AI systems should empower everyone and engage people. That's inclusiveness. AI systems should be understandable. They need to be transparent. And last but not least, people should be accountable for AI systems. That means when you build something, you build an AI model, and something goes wrong, you cannot say it was the AI model. It's you've built it, and you should have tested it deep and well enough to make sure nothing can go wrong. Transparency, I always give the same example. Imagine you're building a machine learning model that can say, okay, you are getting a loan and you are not getting a loan. Now imagine you go to the bank and you ask for your loan, and the bank employee says, I'm sorry, we cannot give you the loan. And then you ask, why not? Oh yeah, the AI system said no. That's not really an answer, okay? Your AI system needs to be able to explain specifically for those kind of things. When it can change someone's life, AI can be an assistant, but shouldn't make those decisions automatically. Now we've seen already 3 different kinds of flavors. And we saw data scientists, we saw developers, and we saw business users. But we're actually missing, what, 99% of the other population of this planet. So we also have something for the whole planet. Let's have a quick look what is there.
Good morning.
Watch me.
Just watch me now. Just watch me now. I got something for you, a little more for you. You won't believe your eyes. Just watch me now. I got something for you, a little more for you. You won't believe your eyes. Just watch me now. Just watch me now.
When I saw the first time this advertisement, which was premiered at the Super Bowl in the US, I was like, what? This is an amazing ad, and I can imagine many people been downloading Microsoft Copilot on their phone after that event. So if you have done that, please have a look. Now, what is Microsoft Copilot compared to, for example, ChatGPT? Now, ChatGPT makes use of the Azure of the OpenAI services, which is great, but it doesn't have immediately access, at least not in the free version, to the public web. Now, Microsoft Copilot there makes use of Bing search. So when you are asking a question, it will actually look to real-time information and going to be able to give you an answer based on that. So you can ask Microsoft Copilot, what is the stock price of Microsoft at this current moment? And it will give you an answer to it. If you ask that to ChatGPT, it will not be able to give you an answer. Now, the other great tool is that except just answering, it will also referencing to you what search results it used to be able to give that answer. Now, as you noticed in the video, it's not only about asking questions, it can assist you with so many things. It can assist you with generating artwork to start up a new business. It can help you to write code. It can help you to learn new things by quizzing you, so you can really understand the matter that you're actually studying. So Microsoft Copilot is really a great tool, and you can really see that this kind of idea is now being used also in many different kinds of chatbot technologies for local organizations. Now, just a couple of months ago, I was at the Microsoft AI tour in Bangalore, and there was a very interesting session there by the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, and there the question was, what is Microsoft's AI product? Do you know what his answer was? It was very short. It was everything. Thank you very much for your attention for this session. If you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me via Twitter, this side up, or connect with me on LinkedIn. I hope you have a very pleasant day at this conference. I'm looking forward to hopefully meet you one time in person. So take care. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Sammy. And so it's a really I mean, it's a pleasure to have you in the global A summer bootcamp. Now, I would like to introduce the Nandip Nachan and Smita Nachan for this our first session, the Build Your Own Copilot with Azure AI Studio. So please give me a second. I just add Smitho and Nandip. Hi Nandip. Hi Smita.
Hey, hi Pratap. Good morning.
Good morning Nandip. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Thank you. Thanks for inviting. It is quite exciting to showcase our topic. All right.
So even though yeah, so we are so excited to have your session. So today lots of members are joined. More than 150 plus people are
Wow.
watching online. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's the
hi
power of
Smita.
AI.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning Smita. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you. Thank you for arranging this our bootcamp. How are you?
I'm do good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all are good. And can we go for the demo for this today's session, Nandip?
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. So we are good to go, right? I can start.
Yeah. So I would like to share your screen and then you can get started. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And
Just let me
before
know
that,
when we can start.
yeah. So before that, guys, you have any queries related to the globe. I mean Azure AI Studio with the build your own Copilot. Please feel free to comment here, and probably Nandip and Smita will clarify your doubts. And I would like to share Nandip screen. Are you able to see? Yeah. It's visible now.
All right. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us at Global AI Summer Bootcamp. And thank you, Innovation Tech Community, for organizing this. Today, we are pretty much excited to showcase our topic on build your own Copilot with Azure AI Studio, but at least we are not limiting ourselves to Azure AI Studio. Even we are going beyond this. When we submitted this topic, we just had Azure AI Studio in the mind, but we probably might deviate from it as well, and then we will show you all of the possibilities by which you will be able to build your own Copilot, right? So that is kind of an exciting thing that we have got. A quick thing about myself. Myself, Nandadeep Najan. I'm Microsoft MVP as well as Microsoft Certified Trainer, author of three books, as well as for example, if you want to get in touch with me, here are my social media handles with my blog as well as YouTube link. And with me today is Smita.
Hello, myself Smita Najan. I am from Pune, India. I'm a Microsoft MVP as well as Microsoft certified trainer. I'm author of these two books, and these are some of my social handle by which you can get in touch with me.
All right, so with that, let's get into the agenda, what we are going to cover during this session. We will get introduced to the Azure AI Studio. Most of you have been already using that, but we will still have some introduction about Azure AI Studio. Then we will go into the Copilot kind of a thing, like how we can use the function calling with Azure OpenAI service, and what is that Azure OpenAI Assistant API, how we can use them. We'll see like what is the Copilot stack is and how we'll be able to build some kind of an Copilots using semantic kernel. Okay, and again we do have some good example which is available onto the Microsoft repository as well on building the booking solution with semantic kernel. Okay, so that is the exciting agenda that we have got. But first, let's go ahead and get introduce ourselves to the Azure AI Studio.
So, the Azure AI Studio is your all in one AI platform for building, evaluating, and deploying the generative AI solutions and the custom copilots as well. So, it brings together the capabilities from across the multiple Azure AI services. So, it is a comprehensive platform that empowers the developers of all abilities and preferences to innovate with AI and shape the future. So, it seamlessly integrates with multiple Azure AI services and the tools, allowing you to explore, build, test, and deploy the AI solutions. So this specifically this Azure AI Studio is designed for developers to build the generative AI applications on an enterprise grade platform. Directly from the studio, you can interact with the project code first via the Azure AI SDK and Azure AI CLI. So the Azure AI Studio is a trusted and inclusive platform that empowers the developers of all abilities and preferences to innovate with the AI and shape the future. So seamlessly explore, build, test, and deploy using the cutting edge AI tools and the ML models grounded in responsible AI practices. So the build together as a one team, your Azure AI resource provide enterprise grade security and a collaborative environment with the share files and the connection to prevent models, data, and compute. So organize your way, your project help you save the state, allowing you to iterate from first idea to first prototype and then first production deployment. Also easily invite others to collaborate along this journey. So with Azure AI Studio, you can evaluate large language models, LLM responses, and orchestrate prompt application components with the prompt flow for better performance. So the platform facilitates scalability for transforming proof of concepts into the full-fledged production with ease. So continuous monitoring and refinement support the long-term success. So here are some of the key features of the Azure AI Studio. So the first one is a generative AI development hub. So the Azure AI Studio serves as a hub for creating, evaluating, and deploying generative AI solutions. Whether you are a seasoned developer or just starting out, you can leverage the cutting edge AI tools and the machine learning models within this platform. The second one is a responsible AI practices. So the grounded in responsible AI practices, Azure AI Studio ensures that your AI solutions are the trustworthy and ethical, and you can build with the confidence knowing that the platform emphasizes the transparency, fairness, as well as the accountability. The third one is a custom copilots. So the Azure AI Studio allows you to create a custom copilot, and these copilots can assist you in various tasks such as natural language processing, recommendation system, and many more things. So you can tailor them to your specific needs and integrate them seamlessly into your applications as well. So the fourth and last one is a built-in security and compliance. So Microsoft invests heavily in cybersecurity, allocating USD 20 billion to enhance your security compliance. With that, let's go ahead and check for the demo.
All right, so let's get started with the Azure AI Studio. For that, let me quickly go back to my Azure portal. So this is my Azure portal. Azure OpenAI is one of the resources that we can create into the Azure portal as like other resources that you might have created. So once you are into the Azure OpenAI resource inside of Azure portal, you probably have got two options here. Either you can go to the Azure Open AI Studio, which is specifically designed for this Azure Open AI, and then we do have another studio, which is Azure AI Studio, which is still in preview, but it is kind of an way in which Microsoft is putting together all of the AI services inside one umbrella. Okay, so that is Azure AI Studio. So let us go into the Azure AI Studio. So this is how the Azure AI Studio looks like. So whether you are at or going in Azure AI Studio, you can anytime use this Home, Explore, Build, and Manage tab to find your way around here. Okay, so this Home tab is nothing but it's kind of an introduction to the Azure AI with information about what is new, access to any of the existing products, as well as a curated selection of Azure AI experiences and link to the learning resources that you can see here. When you go to the Explore tab, this is where you will be able to find all of your models, services, as well as the solutions to start working on them. And the goal is that you can find and try all the Azure AI services from here. Okay, so you can explore like what kind of an settings that you have got, what kind of an models you have got. So for example, if you see here, these are all of the models that we'll be able to use. We do have got models from various vendors. So let's say for example, if you go into the collections from here, you should be able to see like the models which are specifically curated by Azure AI or Meta, Hugging Face, all those kind of things you will be able to do. Most of the times when you have a look at this all of the models, probably that makes you confusing, like now that I have got too many models, which one is best for me, or best which one is best suitable for my use case. So for that we do have something called as an inference task. So let's say for example, if you want to do the summarization of your text, maybe you got the long email, or maybe you came across a long kind of an article, you want to get it summarized, so you can just select onto this inference task of summarization, and these are the models that probably help you better to summarize the thing. Okay, so this is kind of a thing that you should be able to do from here. So if in case you don't have any idea from where to start from, or at least which are the models to go ahead choose from, this is the place from where you will be able to get that finer idea. Again, for example, if you are specifically trying to get into any kind of a fine tuned task, again we do have the filtration there which you can use. These are the few things which are here. At the same time, for example, if you want to compare two models, or maybe more than two models, multiple models side by side, we do have this model benchmark onto the left hand side. So this page will help you to compare the model, their capabilities alongside each other. So on the default homepage, you should be able to see comparison between all the sites. But let's say, for example, we just want to make this comparison only for a specific thing, we can do that. So let's say onto the right hand side where we do have all those filters, we will go ahead and then just have the task generation filter applied, and then here we should be able to see all of our models that we have, and the famous ones are these GPT models, right, which are from the Azure OpenAI. So let's say we want to compare those two models side by side. Let's say for example, GPT 3.5 turbo 0301 version and GPT 4 with 0314 version. So this is kind of a comparison that you get, like how what is the kind of an average model accuracy for all those. And obviously GPT-4 will stand more accurate than GPT 3.5, but here you will get that entire comparison. Let's say for example, if you want to go more deeper in this case, you should be able to get the values across the coherence, groundness, fluency, relevance, and GPT similarity. So that way it will make you pretty much easy to make your decision, like which model is probably good for us in the particular use case, and go ahead. The other kind of a thing that you see here is build. Oh, sorry. Okay, so other kind of a thing that you see here is a build. So build is again kind of an experience where AI developers as well as maybe the ML professionals, they can build or customize the AI solutions and models. So you can start by creating a project. So at the very top level, we have got hub. So once you have the hub, you will be able to create multiple projects inside of that. Even you can create multiple hubs as well. Once you go into the project, this is a place where you will be able to create or deploy all those model instances, and you will be able to use them. So as you go onto the data, this is the place where you should be able to see all of the, oh sorry, not data, as you go into the deployment, this is a place where you will be able to see all of your models. So maybe you can go ahead, create those models into the Azure OpenAI Studio. Even they can be seen here as well. How this one is happening, because we do have a connections over there. Okay, so you will be able to see all the models. Again, you can click on create a deployment, and you will be able to create a new deployment for your model. Okay, so this is the place from where you will be able to get started as a developer to evaluate the model, to get started with those model. Again, we do have those content filters for the safety of the communication between us and the LLM. So anytime you can go ahead, create that content filter. So those content filters are targeted towards specific categories of violence, hate, sexual, as well as self-harm. You can have a control over both, like how you want to control the threshold levels for each of those category for the user prompts, as well as how you want to configure it for the model prompts. Okay, so you do have that finer control. So let's say, for example, if you are working onto the crime story, probably you will want to make them very low. But at the same time, for example, if you are working on any of the legal documents or maybe any of the policies and all those things, maybe you can consider it to be medium or higher. So based on what kind of a scenario you are trying to design, you can go ahead and take the decision. The last thing that we have here is manage. So as a developer, you can manage the setting, for example, all of the connections as well as the compute, and your admin will mainly use this section to look at the access control, usage, as well as the billing. Okay, so once you go here, again we do have this hub, and inside of this hub, you we should be able to go ahead and manage all those kind of a thing. Okay, so here we do have all the policies, billing, compute instances, and these are the connections that we were talking about. So if you see here, we already have a connection to our Azure OpenAI, and that's the reason all of the models that we had created into the Azure OpenAI we were able to see here. At the same time, as we said, like Azure AI Studio is an umbrella for all of the Azure AI services. You can have a connection to all of the Azure AI services, for example, Azure AI Search, or even you can have a connection to normal Azure AI resources, for example, Azure Blob Search, because whenever you will go for creating your own RAG model, probably you will need Azure Blob Storage to store that information, right? So that was the quick introduction about Azure AI Studio to set the background. Now let us see like what are the features that it offers, and then we will move on to the Copilot part of it. All right, so this Azure AI Studio is it is kind of a unified platform for developing the generative AI applications and custom Copilot experience. Okay, so it is a uniform platform where we can have the multi-modal kind of an AI tools. So multimodality here refers to how we are interacting with all of the models, because when we started interacting with the model, we were only limited to text in, text out kind of an interaction. But now that we are going broader, we are interacting with the models in the form of text, voice, video, audio, all those kind of a thing, right? So that means we are going into the multimodality kind of thing. And again, GPT-4 supports all those multimodal kind of things. So let's say, for example, if you are using Copilot in Microsoft 365 applications, for example, in Word, PowerPoint, there you can see that you can easily talk to the AI, and then you will be able to get the information there. If I want to quickly show you the demo, then in that case, let me again go back here. Let's say we go into the project, or maybe let us go into the Azure Open AI Studio. Okay, and once you are into the chat application, here you can see that this is the place, the chat playground, wherein you will be able to evaluate the model or maybe set the tone for your model by setting the system message and adding the examples. The main thing here is like once you go into the playground settings, this is the thing like where you will be able to give the speech kind of a resource to your models. So you can enable this speech to text, text to speech, and this is a place where you will be able to go ahead and give your model a voice. So let's say, for example, we take a JSON here, and the voice speed is 1x, and we can simply ask JSON to respond. Okay. Okay. Looks like JSON is taking some
Hi,
time.
I'm
Okay.
Jason. How can I help you today?
So that means we are not only limited to just give the text in, text out, but probably you can create a bot who, instead of maybe typing, can directly interact with you using voice. Okay, so these are the kind of capabilities that we have got with multimodality. Then you can do the data integration. So whenever we are working with the Azure AI or Microsoft Azure Open AI, obviously we want to ground those models with by bringing our own data, and definitely there we can use that, and then we'll be able to bring our own model there as well. The other thing is, like, once you get into that rack kind of pattern, that means retrieval augmented generation, it does supports the vectorization. So you can create the embeddings, and then you will be able to have the search either using the vector search, semantic search, or even the hybrid search kind of a thing. And at the end, it does support the prompt flows as well as LLM ops. So again, for that, if I go back to the Azure portal, maybe specifically into the Azure AI Studio, where we have this prompt flow. So prompt flow are nothing but, let's say you are working with your models, you train your models, but now that you want to go ahead and test out your models. So for a human being, testing it out manually is a very tedious task. In that case, what you can do is you can create your prompt flow to go ahead and test out your model onto the data that you have trained on. So you can create that kind of a flow, you can create a versioning of it, and then that will help you to evaluate model how it is working better. And lastly, the content safety part that we have seen, like whenever we are communicating with the LLM, and we are getting the responses, we want to make sure that we are building a safer kind of an environment wherein we can use the responsible AI principles, as well as we should look for the detection of any kind of a jailbreaking, so that maybe user is trying to intend to take over of those LLM kind of an interaction, and probably want to do the things that they should not perform. So all those kind of a thing we should take care of, and then Azure AI Studio is very much strong enough to help you support in all those kind of a thing. All right, so this was the quick thing that we were talking about, models, Azure AI Studio, their capabilities. Now that let's go ahead and try to see, like, how we can use all these kind of services for building our Copilot.
So the latest version of GPT-35 Turbo and GPT-4 are fine-tuned to work with the functions and are able to both determine when and how a function should be called. So if one or more functions are included in your request, the model determines if any of the functions should be called based on the context of the prompt. So when the model determines that a function should be called, its response with a JSON object including the arguments for the function. So with that, let's go ahead and see how to use the function calling with Azure Open AI Service. So the latest version of GPT-35 Turbo and GPT-4 have been fine-tuned to work with the functions, and both are able to determine when and how a function should be called. Okay, so this provides a native way for these models to formulate the API calls and structure data outputs. So all based on the functions you specify. So it's important to note that while the models can generate these calls, it's up to you to execute them, ensuring you remain in a control. So at a high level, you can break down the working with the functions into the three steps. The first one, call the chat completion API with your function and then the user's input. The second one, use the model response to call your API or function. And the third one, call the chat completion API again, including the responses from your function to get a final response. So with that, let's go ahead and see the demo for working with the function calling.
All right, so this is the demo which is being kind of an influence from this code reference that you see. So quickly, like, why we need the function calling is, let's say for example, if I ask LLM or any of the model, like, what is the temperature right now in Pune or maybe in Tokyo. In that case, since it is last trained in maybe January 2022, it doesn't know like what is the current temperature in any of the city, right? So we want to give that kind of an capability to to the LLM, so that at least they will know there is a function somewhere that they can call, bring the information and give it back to the user. Okay, so even though they have not been trained onto the latest data, they still have the capability to go ahead, call those functions and move forward. All right, so this is the Visual Studio Code kind of a thing that you are able to see. Like this is the code where we have two functions defined. First one is get capital, which will help us to go ahead and get the capital. Before that, let's see like what kind of a prompt that we are calling it from here. So the prompt that we are going to call here is like what is the weather in capital city of Japan. Okay, so if you break down this statement, there are two statements inside of that. First thing is we want to know the capital city of Japan, and second thing is we want to know the weather in Japan. Okay, so these are the two things, and obviously LLM will know what is the capital city of Japan, but LLM will not know like what is the current weather in Japan. Okay, so in that case, what we are doing is we are creating two functions. First one is get capital, and then we have the other function called as an get weather. Okay, so let's get into that one by one. So here we have got this get capital function. So this is the function definition for that. It expects the name and the description. Name and description should be pretty much simple so that Copilot will be able to know which function to call. So here you can see that the name is very simple, get underscore capital, and description is like get the capital of the location. So that means whenever you are using or deploying this model into any of the application, and when someone asks for the capital or whether, it knows that okay, there is a function with this description and it can pick up that function. Okay, so when we have the function, obviously that can have certain parameters. So this is the parameters like location and the description. Again, there is city or state or country. So this is kind of an humanly readable or NLP kind of an description that we have got here. We are not going very fancy here. We are simply retaining the capital as a Tokyo. But again, this is a place from where you can call any of the web service or maybe database where we are storing the information and pass on the result. But we are keeping it pretty simple. We are simply passing the Tokyo from here. The other function that we have got is get weather. Again, the name itself says that it is going to give the weather for a specific location, and that is we are clearly calling out in this description. Okay, then again it does expect some kind of an parameters. So first thing is like which city or state that we want the that we want the weather for, and second thing what unit of that weather. So for example, whether it is a Celsius or Fahrenheit unit that we are going to use. Out of that, the required parameter is location. And then when someone will call that get weather, again this is a place where you will be able to create the dynamic kind of an thing, weather, by calling the weather service here and return the temperature in that city. But we're again keeping it pretty much simple, and we are returning the temperature as 31 degrees Celsius, which you can see here. Okay, so this is the simple thing that we have got, two functions that we have built. Now that let us go into the calling code and see how we are working. So at the top, I have created my Azure Open AI, and then we are creating the Azure Open AI client here by passing on all the information. We are using the GPT 3.5 Turbo model here. We are going to use the chat completion APIs, and these are the two function definitions that we have defined. As soon as we are creating those function definition, we are making our chat completion API aware of those function by adding those. And then again, this is our user prompt, like what is the weather in capital city of Japan. When it does, we will go ahead and call the chat completion API asynchronously. So this particular question or this particular prompt will be passed on to the LLM, which is GPT 3.5, and then it will process that prompt. Once it will process the prompt, whenever it will find that it is not able to get to the information, it needs the help from the function, it will go ahead and call the function. So now that we want to see like which function is getting called, so that's the reason we have these if statements here. So if the function being called is get weather, then it is going to go ahead and give this information, or again get the weather from there, and again passing it back to the LLM. Same thing goes for capital. So when the LLM will call your function, again you will compose the entire parameters that are needed there. You will call the function to go ahead and get the capital, and again you are going to return that data back to the LLM in the chat completion API. Once you get the entire kind of an output, for example, the capital as well as the temperature from there, you are again going to call the LLM to generate the final response for you, and you are going to present that. So let us go ahead, run this, and you will be able to see how it works. So our prompt is like this, like, what is the weather in capital city of Japan? So we are expecting both these functions to get called. So let's see if I do have debug points set there, so that we'll be able to see how those functions are being called. Okay, so hello world is the very first statement that we have got. Okay, so here you can see that it is calling the get capital function first, because it knows that in order to get the temperature of the capital city of Japan, it needs to know the capital first. So this is the place where it is calling my function called as get capital. We will move from here, and here you can see that we are into the get capital function, and it is returning the Tokyo from here. Now that our model is aware that the capital of Japan is Tokyo, and it needs to go ahead and get the weather of that city. So it will go ahead, call our other function called as get weather, and then from there we are composing the required parameters. We hit that get weather inside of get weather function, and we are simply returning the 31 degrees Celsius from here, and we will go ahead. Now that it has passed on all that information to LLM back to generate the response, and we got this response here. So now that if I go here, you can see that the weather in the capital city of Japan, which is Tokyo, and currently it is 31 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is the kind of an power of function calling that you will be able to go ahead and use. Okay, so it was a very quick demo, but hopefully that gives you some kind of an idea, like if in case you want to go ahead, build your own rack pattern by calling the live APIs or live data, this is the way that you will be able to do, right? Okay, so with that, let's get into the other option by which you will be able to create your own copilots. And that other option is Azure OpenAI Assistant API, which is in the preview but very powerful.
So the assistant is a new feature of Azure OpenAI service is now available in public preview. So the assistance API makes it easy for the developers to create the application with sophisticated copilot like experiences that can shift through the data, suggest solutions, and automate the task. So previously building the custom AI assistants needed a heavy lifting even for experienced developers, while the chat completions API is a lightweight and powerful. So, which means that the developers had to manage the conversation state and the chat threads, tool integrations, retrieval documents, and the indexes and execute code manually. So the Assistance API, as a stateful evolution of the chat completion API, provides a solution for these challenges, and the Assistance API supports the persistence automatically managed threads. That means that as a developer, you no longer need to develop the conversation state management systems and work around a model's context Windows control.
Okay, so when we go to the assistant playground, so let me quickly go into the assistant playground to show you like how does it work. So right now I'm into the Azure Open AI Studio, and onto the left hand side of this here you will see the assistants into the preview. Okay, so once you click that, there are a few components here. For example, first one is assistant name. So you need to specify the name for your assistant. This is the assistant name for you. Then you do have instructions to make your assistant aware of like what kind of an assistant it is, to making the behavior into that. And then again we do have a deployment. So here you can see that probably we can select our model that we have deployed into the Azure AI portal. And then the other thing is like from here we will be able to go ahead and add the functions as well. Okay, and then the other thing that we have got here is okay, one thing I forgot to talk about functions is like these are just the function definition, and even if you read out this statement that those functions are not getting called, but at least the assistant API will know that there is a function, and then it can make you to go ahead and call those function on its behalf. And the two functions which are readily available here is get weather and get stock price. Only the definition is here. It doesn't make any calls, but only definition is here. Now that it is your duty to go ahead, make the implementation for that, and make your assistant API aware of that. The other thing that we have got here is this code interpreter. So for example, whenever you will turn on this code interpreter, the Azure AI Studio or this Azure OpenAI Studio, or maybe Azure OpenAI in this case is going to create a new sandbox of Python for you where it will be able to go ahead and execute the code. Okay, so that is the power that we have got. And lastly, for example, if you want to use your own data, obviously you can add your own files and you will be able to use that files to ground your data, right? So that is the things that we have got. And with that, probably let's get into the demo of that. So let me again go back to the Azure AI Studio. So this is the Azure AI Studio that we have got, wherein we are into the Assistants API. I do have a um, few assistant that I already created. So I will just go into the open and I will open those assistants. Okay. So just wanted to save the time, nothing else. So here you can see that this is the name of our assistant, which is data visualization. And as soon as you do that, you will see the assistant ID getting generated here. Okay. So you will be able to use this assistant ID. And when you will go ahead, start the conversation, you should be able to see the thread getting started, and this is the thread ID for that. We do have this assistant name. We do have the deployment, which is GPT 3.5 Turbo. Here we are giving all of the instructions. That means you are a helpful AI assistant who makes interesting visualizations based on the data. And these are the instructions that I give. Here you can see that I'm not calling any of the function, but I do have this code interpreter box on. That means the Azure OpenAI is going to create the sandbox for the Python for us. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that we just want to go ahead and test it out. So we'll put a query like create a visualization of sine wave. Okay, so sine wave, probably it is the thing that you must have learned when you were kid, or maybe when you're into the colleges. So again, we will go into that world and see like how the sine wave looks like. Okay, so here you can see that the references of code underscore interpreter. Okay, so that means it has started executing that code onto the sandbox that we had created, and this is the sine wave that you should be able to see. Okay, so there is a code behind that runs it. Even I will show you that code behind as well, but this was the pretty much simple demo, like how you will be able to go ahead and create those assistant. Okay, so we do have other demo as well. For example, these fast food chains. So we have various fast food chains, and we want to go ahead and get the data from there as well. So for that, we are going to use our own data. So here you can see that I have added a file called as fast food chains in USA CSV file. So this CSV file is pretty much simple. Like it just has got the ID, again the name of the fast food, for example, McDonald's, Burger King, and other other kind of an fast food chains. And again, what kind of an fast food they provide, for example, pizza, burger, all those kind of a thing, and what is their sales for the or again what are their outlets, the number of outlets that they have got. So this is the basic information. Again, we have that assistant created. We generated this assistant ID. It has generated that assistant ID. And then again, this is a deployment that we have got. Instruction, it's pretty much simple. Like you are a data analyst who looks at the data and can tell interesting things about it. Okay. So what we are going to do here is like we are going to hit our first first thing. But before that, let me just clear the chat so that we'll be able to have the plain conversation. Again, you can see that the new thread has started, and this is the thread ID for that. So I will put the first question to this assistant, like which fast food chain has the highest number of stores. Okay, and then it is going to refer this CSV that I have added there, and then it should be able to. Oh, okay. It says that it seems to be data. Okay, all right. Let me just delete that. Try to add it one more time. If in case this demo doesn't work, you just need to believe me that it works. So let me just go ahead, do this one more time. All right. Okay, so let's try to go ahead and try to execute this one more time. Okay, so now that it went to the code interpreter, and you can see that the fast food chain with the highest number of stores is McDonald's. Okay, but we want to know like how it went to this kind of a conclusion that the highest number of stores is of McDonald's. So what we will say is like we will again pass on the prompt asking the assistant API to show the code that it has used to come to this conclusion. So we are just saying like, can you show me the Python source code used to generate this data, and it will go ahead, and this is the Python code that you can see that it has referred the CSV file. It has there was a column called as chain. It went into that count of those chains, and it has just picked up the maximum chain with the max, and then it is giving us the result back. So this is the code which is running into the background. So as I said, when you will go ahead and enable this code interpreter, there is a sandbox of the Python that gets provision for you, and this is the code that will run on top of it. Okay. And then, for example, if you want to go a bit fancy, like maybe if you want to generate the graph which depicts the average sale of each of those fast food chain, even it can go ahead and generate those graph. Okay, so even you don't need to be an Excel expert, or maybe you don't need to learn Power BI or any of the tools to go ahead and generate the graphs for you. You can make use of this code interpreter, and it will go ahead and generate the entire code for you. Again, we know that there is a sandbox which runs behind that, so you will be able to also get access to the code as well. Okay, so you don't just need to believe on like this is the graph that it has generated, but you can as anytime get into the code and tweak that if necessary. So here you can see that it was able to go ahead and give us the graph of all of the food chains. And again, you can see that McDonald's was at the top, and that is the reason it gave the answer as the fast food chain that has got the highest number of stores is McDonald's in the previous response. The other or the last kind of an setup I just wanted to show you is of the weather assistant. Okay, so let me just clear this chat one more time. So again, this is a weather assistant. We are not doing anything fancy. We don't have any files here, but even we do not have the code interpreter here. We just have enabled the functions, and we have added the get weather function here. Okay, so what we will do is we will just ask the assistant API, like tell me the weather in New York. So it will go ahead. Right now it doesn't know what is the weather in New York, but definitely it knows that there is a function called as get weather, and it can make use of that function, and it is asking us. So this is not going to call the function, but it knows that there is a definition of that function. It will ask you to go ahead, set up the parameters that as we had seen in the previous code, that we need to go ahead and do this entire binding for that. So this is the entire binding that we need to do there. So once you do that binding, it will go ahead, call that, and you will be able to get the result. Okay, so that was the pretty much simple thing, like how you will be able to do with the assistant APIs. Okay, so that is another way by which you will be able to go ahead and build your own copilots. So the last thing that we will see now is the semantic kernel.
So the semantic kernel is an open source SDK that lets you easily build agents that can call your existing code. So as a highly extensible SDK, you can use the semantic kernel with the models from OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, Hugging Face, and many more. So by combining your existing C Sharp, Python, and Java code with these models, you can build agents that answer the questions and automate the processes. Let's go ahead and see this Copilot stack. So to help the developers build their own Copilot experiences on top of AI plugins, Microsoft have released the Semantic Kernel, a lightweight open source SDK that allows you to orchestrate the plugins, for example, your existing code with the AI. So, with the semantic kernel, you can leverage the same AI orchestration patterns that power Microsoft Copilots in your own apps. Okay, so why we use the SDK like a semantic kernel? So, the today's AI models can easily generate the messages and images for users. So, while this is helpful when building a simple chat app, so it is not enough to build a fully automated AI agents that can automate the business processes and empower users to achieve the more. So to do so, you would need a framework that can take the responses from these models and use them to call the existing code to actually do something very productive. Now let's go ahead and see the semantic kernel makes how it makes the AI development extensible. Okay, so the semantic kernel has been engineered to easy to add your existing code to your AI agents with the plugins. So with the plugins, you can give your agents the ability to interact with the real world by calling your existing apps and services. So in this way, plugins are like the arms and hands of your AI app. So additionally, semantic kernels interface allows it to flexibility flexibly integrate any AI service. So this is done with a set of connectors that make it easy to add memories and AI models. So in this way, semantic kernel is able to add a simulated brain to your app that you can easily swap out as never and better AI models becomes available. So because of extensibility of semantic kernel provides with connectors and plugins, you can use it to orchestrate nearly any of your existing code without being locked into a specific AI model provider. Okay, so let's go ahead and see this AI plugin in the semantic kernel. So the plugins are the fundamental building blocks of semantic kernel, and with the plugins in Chat GPT, Bing, and Microsoft 365, with the plugins you can encapsulate the capabilities into a single unit of functionality that can be run by the kernel. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what is this exactly the plugin. So to drive alignment across the industry, we have adopted the OpenAI plugin specification as the standard for the plugins. So this will help to create an ecosystem of the plugins that can be used across all of the major AI apps and services like ChatGPT, Bing, and Microsoft 365. With that, go ahead and let's see the demo for the semantic kernel.
All right. So again, this demo is available onto the Microsoft GitHub. The kind of an booking restaurant kind of an app which is built with semantic kernel. So for that, let me go ahead. Probably what I will do is I will run that solution first, and then we will see like how it has been developed. Okay. So this is again solution which is being used to go ahead and sorry, just give me one moment. Yeah, to go ahead and have the booking. So I know that most of you have been knowing about the booking app which is available inside of Microsoft 365. So let's say, for example, if I go into Microsoft 365 here, if I go into the portal.office.com, there is a bookings app which is available that will help you to go ahead and have your bookings at one place. So you can use that internally as well as even you can use that externally. So once you go into this apps, there is something called as an bookings that you will be able to go ahead and use. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show that to you. So you can use that booking app to go ahead, consolidate all of your booking. That way it will make all of your subordinates or maybe even the external users to go ahead and book a meeting with you. So this is the app that we are going to use in this particular application. So what we are going to do is we are going to allow the bookings or the restaurant bookings to be done from the semantic kernel. Okay, so with that, let me go ahead and run this code as it is, and then we will go and see like the code behind for that. Okay, so okay, there is a error. Okay, I didn't expect it, the error to come here, but okay, let us see. All right, so let us go ahead, try to run probably because of the thing which I was playing with that. All right. Okay, so this is the application which is running a console-based application, and right now it is asking for the user prompt. So we'll give the user prompt like, please book a restaurant for me. So what it will do is it will just ask us like to miss the name of the restaurant that we want to book as well as the date and time of the restaurant, name, number of peoples that are going to join your party, your email address and phone number. So what we will do is we will just say like, I would like to book a table at the restaurant called as the French Laundry on 15th of March, or probably let me just go ahead and have it some good thing. So today is 5th of March, so, sorry, 5th of May. So probably we will do it for 6th of May, 2024. Will be very much specific. Otherwise, it might do the bookings in the future as well. So at 7 p.m. for the 4 people. And my name is John Doe, and my email address is this, and my phone number is this. All right. So let us go ahead and try to have that booking. Okay. So it is saying like, do you want to book a table at French Laundry on this date for 4 people? It is just asking you for the confirmation. Okay. So once you say yes, it is going to go ahead and do the booking for you. So it will go ahead, give do the booking, and then it is going to show the booking for us. Okay, so here is the booking that you will see. Now that, let me again go back to this booking app, and let me show you where that booking is. Or so for that we have created a booking page. Name of that is hotel booking, and since I had it booked for, I guess, 6th of May, we should be able to see it here. Okay, this is 5th of May. Okay, so the data is into the UTC format. So even though it is 7 a.m., it is into the UTC format, which is 12 a.m. here. So I can open up that, and here you can see that the booking has been done with the name of John Doe onto the restaurant for the 4 people. Okay, so this is the thing that it had went ahead and done. Now that probably we want to go ahead and ask the question, like we want to see all of the booking. Okay, so like I will say list my current booking. So it will go ahead and show me the current bookings that I have got. So here you can see that I have got 3 bookings. If you want to cancel the booking, again you can say cancel my booking, and again it will ask you like provide me with the details of the booking that you would like to cancel, such as the reservation ID or the other relevant information. So let's say, for example, if you have the reservation ID, you can you can go ahead and do that, or maybe you can just say that the French laundry, and then it will go ahead and it is going to ask you like the specific thing, the date and time where you want to go ahead and cancel that booking. So probably I just want to cancel this particular booking, so I will go ahead, pass on that date and time, and it should go ahead and cancel the booking. Okay, so here you can see that it is canceling that booking, and it has done with that booking. If I again go ahead and list the current bookings, you can see that there should be just 2 bookings. One booking has been removed. Okay, so this is the simple application that we have built with semantic kernel. So let us go into the code of this. How does this work? Okay, so first thing is like you need to have the semantic kernel, um, semantic kernel kind of an DLS being added, or maybe the NuGet packages that needs to be added here. We do have some app settings where we are storing all of the application settings, and those application settings are the app config, where we have the booking business ID as well as the booking service ID, which is coming from your booking service. Okay, so whenever you will create the booking service, this is your booking app ID, and then the booking service ID, that is service that you are creating. So this thing we are specifying here into the app config, and again we are specifying all of the Azure OpenAI, the ID, and again the deployment name, endpoint, and the API key to get ourselves authenticated. The other thing, like how this one works, is with the graph client. So for that, let me again go back, and I'm into the Azure AD portal, into the app registration. So in this app registration, you can see that we do have this app ID. We will also need obviously the app secret to go ahead and get ourselves authenticated. So which is this part, the client secret. So this client secret is here. If you go into the client secret part, this is a client secret that we have generated for this. And now that we want to interact with this booking system, and there are graph API endpoints exposed for that. For that, I will go into the API permissions, and here we should be able to see all of the API permissions that we have specifically given to this app registration. So this is the specific app registration permission that we have given. For example, booking appointments dot read write dot all. And if you see here, the type of that is application. That means this is the application with which we are going to go ahead and use this permission. If in case you want to go with the delegated permissions, you need to go ahead and set up these 2 things like OpenID and profile, which will help you to do this booking on behalf of user as well. Okay, but we are using the application permission here directly. These are the things that we have got. The main thing here is with the booking plugin. Okay, again we do have this appointment as our model, where we have the information about the start timing, the restaurant, party size, as well as the reservation ID. Okay, we will go into the bookings plugin first. So in the booking plugin here, you can see that we are making use of that graph service client. Again, we do have the time zone here mentioned. So in the booking plugin, what we are doing is like we are exposing certain functions. So the first function here is book table asynchronously, and here we are giving the function name as well as the description, like book a table. So when the user will say that I want to book a table, it will know by looking at the description that this is the function that will help to go ahead and book the table at that hotel or that restaurant. Okay, so this is the function which is responsible for that. Once this function gets called from your Copilot, in that case we are just giving some information about system, like go ahead and confirm your booking and all those kind of a thing. And here we are making use of the endpoint available from the Microsoft Graph, like Microsoft Graph dot booking appointment, and then we are setting all the values for that graph endpoint. And then here you can see that we are composing the entire information that is needed for the graph endpoint to go ahead and make the booking. Once we have all the information, like all of the payload created for that body, we simply go ahead and make that call so that we'll be able to go ahead and make that booking. Okay, other thing is, like for example, when you want to go ahead and list out all of the booking, again we do have function for that with the description, which will help the Copilot to go ahead and locate this listing of the reservation booking at the restaurant. And then simply again we are making use of graph endpoint to go ahead, get all of the bookings and show it to the user. The last thing, when we want to go ahead and cancel the reservation, we are asking for the appointment ID to cancel, or maybe the name of the restaurant, or anything else. And with that, again, we are going into the bookings using the graph endpoint, and we are deleting that entry. When it comes to the actual code which is running behind, so this is the actual code which is running behind. So here you can see that we are reading the values from that configuration file, the config file, so that we can go ahead and create the open service AI client. And then we are using those application scopes that we have defined to go ahead and have the graph client created for us. This is the place where the semantic kernels comes into the picture, where we create the semantic kernel builder, and we make that semantic kernel aware of our function by adding those plugins. And here we are specifying the booking ID and the booking service which is required, as well as the graph client that it should call. Once we have that, this is the open AI chat completion APIs that we are going to use, which we are also again adding into the builder. Then simply we want to go ahead and start chatting with the Copilot, or with the LLM. So we are just setting the context that you are a friendly assistant who help for restaurant booking. Once we go ahead, we just watch for the user input, and when the user says that they want to go ahead perform the booking, we are again enabling the auto function calling, because those are the functions which are available inside of our plugins, and then it can pick up the related function that needs to be called. Once we get the response from there, we again call the get chat message content asynchronously to get the results from the AI, and that way the conversation continues. Okay, so this was the very basic example of how you will be able to go ahead and use the semantic kernel. Okay, so hopefully that gives you fair idea of how to go ahead create your own Copilot, right? So we explored
Yeah.
at least three options, like you will be able to go ahead do that with function calling, semantic kernel, and the assistant API. So with that, thank you very much, and back to you, Pratap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Smith and Mandeep. So we have some few questions regarding the Copilot. So I would like to go for the rapid fire. Okay.
Oh,
So we don't have
sure.
some. So don't have. So for example, I just add that question like so I need so just I need help choosing a CRM. I have access to Microsoft 365 with the GoDaddy. Can I add the Copilot and just use the voice assistant to avoid having the type of this my information?
Yeah, you can do that. So as I was showing, there is a
Hmm.
functionality available. Like for example, if you go into the chat completion API, instead of typing you can use that voice assistant. There are almost, I guess, more than 100 voice assistant which are available to you. So you can go into the playground settings, you can select your speech service. So speech service you can use, or otherwise even you can use the whisper model for that. Okay, so uh, use either the speech service or whisper model. You can select the voice with which you want to interact with the application, and you will be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And so one more question is, so what are the different types of data sources that you we can integrate to our Copilot?
Okay, so for example, if you are simply looking out from the chat playground, you can go to add your data, add a data source, and here these are the options available. But you are not only limited here. I have also shown that, for example, if you have a semantic kernel, in that case, even you can be able to call that data from your Microsoft Graph. Okay, but natively, these are the data sources which are available.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all for the basic questions, and we have a few more questions. So, but I need to move to the some other call.
Sure,
So yeah,
sure,
thank you
sure,
so much,
definitely.
Nandi.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So we are lucky to have you in the first session for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Smita. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. And feel free
Yeah,
to reach
thank
out to
you.
Nandeep and Smita for any queries related to the Build Your Own Copilot and Azure AI Studio. And I love the demo parts of this assistant API and as well as this, semantic kernel as well. Thank you so much, Nandeep and Smita and all the audience. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us. Thank you. See you soon.